Hello and welcome to Marketing Global Edition with me, Jasmine Montgomery.
And me, Piers Geiler.
So, Piers, today we're going to revisit a topic we discussed a couple of weeks ago, Jaguar. We talked about the teaser ad campaign, which came out and created a furore, in which they promised fearless creativity.
That's right. And now we've finally seen the car. Well, we've seen the concept car. It was unveiled at the Miami Art Week. And they're calling it the new Jaguar Type 00 or 00 or 00. And it's the first concept car to be revealed since the dramatic rebrand. It's a very polite way of saying controversy.
Yeah, major. So we looked last time at Jaguar's rebranding, and it was a symphony of wokeism, flying a flag for the younger generation and their groundbreaking eschewing of social norms like gender, as a metaphor, I guess, for the kind of the iconoclasm that we were told to expect in the design of the car. And I guess to try and get Gen Z to think about buying a Jag, right? I mean, I think Jaguar have always been about kind of great performance and design for a younger generation. So, yeah.
We promised to follow up once we'd seen the car, once the car was launched, and see if it changed the debate. I mean, hoped it would change the debate. Something really massive would happen. It'd be brilliant. I mean, I just
Right. So
love
has
the
it?
Jags all those years, like E-types, XJS,
Yeah.
Morse driving around in a Mark II. With Nail had one. So Jaguars have been with us, for years. Anyway.
So
So
we were expecting this huge debate change. We were expecting fearless creativity. We were expecting to see something that was going to, I think, radically reset Jaguar from a kind of, downward decline into some, new era. Piers, you know much more about cars than I do. You've seen the concept car. Has it delivered?
Well, I was definitely hoping that when we saw the car, it all would become clear, and the ad would suddenly make sense.
So what were you expecting?
Well, I was really expecting something, really futuristic, something that really took ownership of the car of the future, and really redefined what having a car was about. It used to be about the driving experience, but what does it mean to own a car now? Because the world has changed, right? That's what I was hoping.
So now that they've unveiled the car, I'm going to have to ask you what you think, because I'm just totally not a car expert.
Ah, First off, I think anyone can have opinion about cars nowadays. In the old days, it used to be, petrol heads would wax lyrical about the differences in engineering, tappets, and people really you either knew about cars or you didn't, and only people who really knew tended to sort of have an opinion on it. But these days, all cars are good. I mean, there isn't a problem, right? There's no rust anymore. There's no fiddling under the engine. People just get them serviced once a year. There's no noise. There's no really loud exhaust anymore because of emissions and things like that. There's no driving fast. I mean, not that I'm condoning that, but there's no driving fast because there's cameras everywhere, right? I mean, it's just the car has changed from something of excitement and performance to something of getting you about from A to B in a sustainable way. And I think that because of that, they have become more lifestyle brands, really. And I think anyone can have an opinion on that.
Okay, well, I love that. Thank you. That sort of allows me into the discussion as a kind of non-petrol head. But, and in some ways, I think you've just endorsed Jaguar's strategy of kind of not putting the car in the ad, but actually having kind of a lifestyle vibe. So, but I'm still going to ask you to describe the car to our listeners because you'll do it better than I will.
Okay, well, look, it looks it looks pretty futuristic. It's all electric, luxury coupe. If you think about kids and Hot Wheels, those sort of cars they push around off these crazy tracks, think American muscle, think steroids, think a car on steroids and add luxury. It's massive. It's really futuristic looking. It has this huge bonnet that, is even considered long, considering they might have had a massive V12 underneath it. And it sort of harks back to the days of the E-Type and the XJS where they had these huge bonnets. But it's odd, right? Because there's no engine in it anymore. So
Right, an electric car.
there's no engine under that long bonnet. What's that for? According to Jerry McGovern, Chief Creative Officer at Jaguar, he says it gives the car unmistakable presence. So it's literally just a styling choice. Now, I think it does make you recognise it's a car, but isn't this the future of cars? So actually, I think it's odd.
I mean, I liked one description. Somebody described the front end as villainous, like it would be driven by the bad guy in a superhero movie. And I kind of love that description because my favorite Jaguar ad in the past was the one where they talked about how villains in the movies are always British, which I thought was just a great. That's my favorite association with Jaguar personally.
I know those ads were brilliant, actually. I can't
Yeah.
remember who was in them now, but
But it's an odd style. It's an odd thing to do to an electric car, I guess.
yeah, yeah. So anyway, look, I mean, now it's got this bold exterior styling. There's no rear window, which is getting a lot of comments, loads of comments, but it's not all positive. And it has this massive monolithic grille and an emphasis on horizontal lines. And some people are saying it looks a bit like a huge air conditioner.
Really getting some flack for that. And Jerry McGovern talks about the emphasis on horizontal lines being all about Jaguar's strike through, its breaking of conventions. And I don't know, but I think if you break convention by not covering the car in a symbolic representation of iconoclasm, but by actually breaking convention, that would be a good thing. So, I just don't know that you can just symbolize breaking a convention. I think you have to do it. So, has this car lived up to that promise from the ad of copy nothing?
No, I think it looks a bit like Rolls-Royce Spectre. It's copied elements of the Polestar 4 by doing away with that rear window. James May has been talking about it previously of Top Gear, and he said he was disappointed it wasn't more radical. Copy nothing. I expected something to be truly different. No bonnet, maybe a spike, right? Maybe something Batman might want to sit in. Maybe something you
Yeah.
can go underwater with. Maybe something you can fly in. That is copy nothing. This is another
It's
car.
such it's such a big claim, isn't it? I think, I think in some ways they set themselves up a bit because even before we saw the car, just the ad itself, which talks about copy nothing, while seeming to kind of jump on current fashion, beauty and social trends about gender and multiculturalism, was kind of in danger of not living up to its own billing. And I can't help pointing out that some of the other lines were just nonsensical and grammatically incorrect. I mean, create exuberant, please, like live livid. I'm grammar police. I don't understand why a British brand can't speak proper Queen's English. That annoys me, but maybe I'm not the target market. But, live vivid. Does it live up to that one?
Well, it comes in two colours at the moment. It comes in Miami pink and London blue, which I know you'll have a point on in a minute. The blue is an homage to E-Type, and according to Jaguar, to British creativity, although that does seem a bit of a stretch. And the pink to the colours of Miami where it was launched. Interestingly, on social, someone with Photoshop recoloured it to make it silver, and it did change it quite a lot, actually. That made
For
it
the
look
better or for the
just a
worse?
colour. Yeah, yeah, it really did. It was
For the
they hadn't
better.
done it, but someone had done it on social, and that looks pretty impressive. Have a look, search it up.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, I think that for a brand whose ad makes it clear that it applauds the idea that binary genders are a thing of the past, that these are surprisingly gendered colours, pink and blue. I mean, pink appeals to my inner Barbie, but if I'm spending $100,000 pounds on a car, I think it's my inner James Bond, not my inner Barbie, that you need to speak to.
They're trying to attract Gen Z, but it seems like the word that's been banded around on TikTok by the influencers is cringe. So
Oh
yeah, not
no, that's not great. But
no.
also, okay, so they're going after Gen Z. I understand that. But what happens if they ostracize their base? So, I mean, it's a really tricky question because sales have plunged from 180,000 Jags in 2018 to 67,000 just last year. So I think the question is, will this strategy increase sales, which they need to do, or just lose them the next 67,000? Can they afford to lose their core base?
But that's happening anyway. Look, I mean, I applaud their innovation. Actually, you can't afford to do nothing. The brand is dying. The sales are dying. Their existing customer base is not buying enough, and are frankly probably dying too because they're getting quite old. They had to do something different. So do something big and bold or die. So I really applaud their desire to do something different and really have a go. I think it's brilliant.
Okay, you're right. It's really easy to be negative. And, as you always say, like anyone can be a critic. So, and everyone has been a critic. I mean, everyone
It
has. So
really has, right?
yeah, I mean, we're not really adding anything to that debate. So I think we should put our money where our mouth is and go beyond criticism. So, Piers, what would you do? What do you think that Jaguar should have done here to turn around their ailing fortunes? What would you have done?
Look, the E-Type, the Jaguar E-Type, has been described as the most beautiful car ever created, right? They are shifting their entire business to electric. They should have brought back the E-Type properly and made it electric. They could have had an amazing ad about bringing the beauty back. They could have reused the name E-Type with a new electric meaning. I mean, E-Type, electric, it's not rocket science, is it?
Right. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's branding.
Yeah.
That's a branding home run ready to happen. I mean, I love that idea. If I won the lottery, I would probably buy a classic E-Type. I mean, I love, I can understand that. Now, James May, who you quoted before, ex Top Gear, he says that everyone needs to move on from the E-Type. I don't know. What do you think?
Loads of brands have reinvented themselves, going back into their heritage and reinventing what made them great in the past. Burberry did it with old designs reinvented. Selfridges did it in 1993 with a rebrand and that iconic yellow bag. Right? I mean, it's just incredible. What an icon that created. And then if you think about cars, Mini did it. So Mini used to be this small little car that ran around. It's now this quite big bulbous Mini. It's still a Mini. Fiat did it from the cinquecento in the 60s and 70s to the Fiat 500 now. And of course, VW, the age-old Beetle that was brought back quite a while ago now. But they've all been fantastic reinvention stories of something great. So, I mean, interesting with the E-Type, Jag might argue that's what they're doing. I mean, you look at it, there are some similarities. It's got the long bonnet, but I don't buy it. Should have made it.
No, as a non-car person, it looks like a different beast to me. It looks like a bigger, hairier beast to me. Is it possible that this is all about the Chinese luxury car market or even the Indian luxury car market, but kind of not your traditional British car market? I mean, I think, if you look at kind of, they're going after, they're trying to position themselves as a luxury car, right? 100 grand. Yeah. Are there many, sort of particularly young millionaires or very wealthy people in the UK and the US who are going to buy that kind of thing? Maybe not. But in China, that may be a market where there's lots of very wealthy young people. Is that the future? Are they cleverly following the money? Will China's nouveau riche class actually, love this?
Well, look, actually, if you look at Jaguar Land Rover today, their biggest market is North America. Okay, but they should I'm not sure that Trump's America is going to go for a pink car marketed with androgynous models. I think they may have misjudged the cultural zeitgeist in North America. So where should they go? Yeah, well, let me just go back. They should be targeting the Chinese because the luxury buyers in China are much younger than the United States or Europe. In fact, I looked at the Global Wealth Report 2023, and 80% of Chinese luxury clientele are under 45 years of age. They're that young. The young have the money, right? Whereas in the United States, consumers under 45 only make 30% of the luxury clientele. And in Europe, it's even lower. So really, if they're trying to sell this car to younger people, they've got to go to China. Absolutely. But where will they go from here?
That's super interesting.
I would say let the fuss die down.
Yeah.
They've got a year to generate demand for these electric cars, and it's not coming off the conveyor belt to the end of, sometime in 2026, yeah? I think they should launch a couple more ads, which are strategically in the same direction. Groundbreaking, cut through, but this time with greater depth of meaning in terms of what it means to be a style icon in the 21st century. Maybe show the car. They want to be
crazy.
They want to be a fashion brand, be less Versace, more Prada, more premium, more sort of harking back to who they are, but in this new way. Maybe more of a tech brand as well. They've sort of gone down this fashion route. So,
I mean, I that was certainly something I was thinking when I was expecting. What I was expecting to see was sort of great use of tech for the kind of the experience, and I guess maybe that space is owned by Tesla. A friend of mine describes her Tesla as like driving an iPad. So I wonder, whether Tesla have cornered if Apple made a car, what would it be like, kind of tech space?
No, that may be a space already occupied by Tesla. I'm not sure anyone can beat Musk at the engineering game.
No, okay, but Jaguar managing director Roden Glover talks about how the industry is going through huge disruption, technology changes, as we all figure out actually what an electrified world means for our brand. But couldn't Jaguar answer that question in a more meaningful way with the 00?
So what would you do? What would you do if you were running Jaguar, Jasmine Montgomery?
If I was running Jaguar, oh, if only. Well, the one thing you can't argue with is that Jaguar have generated a huge amount of PR around the campaign. So McGovern at the launch made a good case for the controversy generating eyeballs. When they launched the car in Miami, he kind of came out with quite a full-throated defense, actually, of kind of the ad in a way. It was subtly worked into the script, but, sort of saying, listen, we've got everybody's attention. And when he did that, I thought, oh my God, wouldn't it be funny if they turned around then or tomorrow and said, only kidding, here's the real car and the real campaign. It was a stunning reimagining of what breaking all the rules of design could really mean for an electric car. If that's what they actually launched, that would be so funny. If they said, listen, guys, this was all a ploy to get your attention.
It's too late. I mean, they've shown us the car, right? They launched although it is only a concept car, so we don't really know what it will look like. Concept cars tend to be a little bit different from the real ones that actually come out, as we all know. Could they come out with a new ad in a week's time?
Yeah, totally. You could make an ad in a week if you had the decision makers on speed dial and the budget. So I'm just secretly hoping that this has all been a publicity stunt. It would go down in history as a great PR coup. I think not since Donald Trump has any brand generated so much free media. So I certainly wouldn't do a major climb down at this point. They've either got to keep going, as you suggested, and add a bit more depth to the debate about the future of cars, or stir this initial controversial marketing flourish into a sort of heady mix of exciting new ads about what contemporary British creativity means and take ownership of that new luxury space by owning the debate. Because it has been a fun debate. It's been really interesting to talk through this. We promised we'd come back after the ad and look at the car and look at the ad back in the context of the car. So I hope that's been an interesting kind of, part 2 really to this debate. I wonder if there will be a part 3, a part 4. We'll keep an eye on Jaguar. We'll keep watching what they're doing next with huge interest. But that's all we have time for now. So join us next week, same time, same place. We had a little hiatus because I had bronchitis and couldn't speak. But same time, same place next week. So thank you all very much.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Marketing Global Edition is sponsored by 𝐒𝐸𝐷𝐶, the ad generator for small businesses that serves you effective and affordable ads in seconds. And by 7 Brands, the international advertising and branding agency that has worked with clients around the world from Coca-Cola to Facebook.